What is going on, everybody? All right, so today we're going to be talking about real estate deal breakers that should never be. Now, what do I mean by that? A few weeks ago, we spoke about what we do with our buyers. We like to sit down and talk to them to find out exactly what our buyers are looking for. And I try to really get our clients to narrow down their wants and needs for that house or what they're looking to buy into 3 non-negotiables. And what I mean by non-negotiable is if the house doesn't have one of these 3 things, they won't even consider it. All right, and we always tell our clients to focus on these 3 things, to the items of the property that are intangibles, things that you can't change or update whenever you move in. So that includes location, layout, square footage, number of bedrooms, things like this that you actually have no say over once you've taken possession. And I always tell my clients is also to not focus on the cosmetics. Now I understand usually you have budgetary constraints as to why you don't want to deal with the reno. However, a large majority of buyers out there, which we like to call the HGTV era, everyone wants to have this property that's just move-in ready. They want to unpack and open up a bottle of wine. That's all great. However, you have to understand a couple things. Number one, there's a lot of buyers out there that are also looking for the exact same thing. And you're going to be paying a pretty penny to have something that's a move-in ready, showroom looking home. However, when you kind of widen your, open your horizons a little bit and you look at homes that might need a little bit of cosmetic updating, it might have really ugly paint color, it might have that shag carpeting, it might smell like cigarette smoke, whatever the situation may be, something that's going to really shy a lot of other buyers away, you're going to get a better deal on it, and you're going to be able to increase your property value by doing minimal work. So I always tell my clients to focus on those things and don't allow that to be the reason why you're not going to move forward with the property. All right. However, the biggest issue that causes deals to fall apart is when the buyer has a mental limit as to what they're willing to spend. Now, I'm not telling you to spend over your approval limit. If you're approved for $500,000, do not even look at properties over $500,000. However, what I do caution against is when you're negotiating, you're moving back and forth. Let's say you got a property that's $500,000, you've come down, you're at $480,000, and the final sign back the buyer or the seller sent you is $485,000. More often than not, and guys, this happens quite a bit, the buyer ends up having this kind of, it's an ego situation where they're like, nope, you know what, I'm not gonna go over X amount of dollars. Now, if there is justification, so you sit down with your agent and you look at the comps and you look at the renovations you gotta put into it and you genuinely understand that that's your limit, completely understandable. However, usually the buyer's limit actually goes lower as they're negotiating. Maybe when they put the offer in, they're willing to go up to $485,000, but how the signbacks are working, like, you know what, I want to stop at $480,000. The $5,000 is minuscule in the grand scheme of things. When I mean minuscule, I mean over the next 5-10 years that you're going to be owning your home, with the amount of money that you're actually paying in your mortgage payments, when you break down that $5,000 over an actual amortized mortgage payment, it is minuscule. Compared to the $5,000, what it means to a seller and the amount of money that's going to be in their pocket, it's a lot bigger deal for them. So I always tell my clients, don't just have this mental block. Understand what your limit is before you go into it maybe. That's one thing. However, don't just change and say, oh, I'm not willing to pay more than X amount of dollars just because I don't want to go higher than that. Okay? We always want to walk away from a deal with it when everyone's feeling like it's a win-win for everybody. No one wants to feel like they got the short end of the stick when they're working and getting a deal done. So these are just a few things to be careful of. Again, none of this is applicable to everything that, like in the market. It's obviously on a case-by-case basis, but these are some of the things that we talk to our clients, and we like to educate our buyers as well as our sellers when they're dealing with the market. And every market is going to be different. It might be a seller's market, buyer market, and all the different things are going to happen. So we try to touch on all of it. However, if there is something that we didn't touch on, please don't hesitate to touch base with me. Jacob at SoldByJacob.com, Facebook, Instagram, both SoldByJacob. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.